University of Minnesota meets the college kings of the Pacific Coast, the University of Washington, who played here, and as you all know, thumped Wisconsin. And working with me today is one of America's top sports authorities, a sports columnist of the Los Angeles Times. He has seen every Rose Bowl game but one. He has covered these games on radio here since 1934, and we want to wish right now a very happy New Year to Braven Dyer.
Thank you, Kurt Gowdy, and good afternoon, sports fans, wherever you are, and welcome to the 47th Annual Tournament of Roses football game in sun-drenched Pasadena.
And that has been won by Washington. The University of Washington will receive. Washington has won the toss for this 47th Rose Bowl game. There is very little breeze today. It is not a factor. And Minnesota is going to choose the goal on our right, to the right of your radio dial. Minnesota will kick off from our right, and Washington will receive on our left. So for Minnesota, and the two speed boys of Washington, Charlie Mitchell and George Fleming, are back on the goal line. All right, here is the boot, and it is coming down, hitting on the 15, picked up by Mitchell on the 10. He's up to the 20. He runs for the far sideline. He's at the 25. He's at the 30, and he's driven out of bounds as they come up in a double wing, a double slot. For the first time, they pitch out to Makita. Makita hits over the left side. He's over the 40 and up to the 41-yard line. Second down and 3 to go. Double slot formation again. They leave Jackson alone deep in the backfield. They pitch to Makita. Makita coming wide is hit, and he is down. He takes away. Ends over the 45. He was hit by 3 men at the 40. And miraculously got out of their grasp and picked up a first and 10 for the University of Washington to their own 47. Tom Brown brought him down, but Makita's in the slot with a right-in split. They give the ball to the fullback, or to the left halfback, Fleming, George Fleming, who drives over the midfield stripe into Minnesota territory. Tom Brown took him there at about the man line. He got a rover. Coming in motion is Fleming. The pitch out is to Jackson, the fullback, coming wide, slips and falls down. As he tried to skirt his own right end, his feet flew out from under him, and down he goes on the Minnesota 48-yard line. Got a yard. It's third down and 5 for halfbacks in the slot with the end split. In motion is Makita, takes the pitch out. Makita trying to bang over his right tackle is stopped hit on at the 47-yard back, and Minnesota is dropping back at twin safety, Sandy Stevens and Bill Munsey. There's the boot by Heibner. It's coming down to the 15-yard line, rolling around on the 10. Inside the 10, keeps going to the 6, and is dead on the 5-yard line of Minnesota. And a wing tee. They've got Mulholland on the left wing with a balanced line. It's given off to the fullback, Hagberg, as he tries to hit off Minnesota on the 5-yard line, their own 5. Once again, the handoff straight up the middle goes Hagberg, who averaged the tackle. Minnesota up in a wing T right, balanced line. Now they're hocking into a punt formation, and Sandy Stevens drops back in the end zone. George Fleming is a single safety for Washington up at the 50-yard line. Good pass from center. There's the kick. Fleming waits for it, grabs it on the 49-yard line of Minnesota, gets to the 45, to the 40. He's down inside the 35 and is pulled down on the 34-yard line by Bobby Bell, the right tackle of Minnesota. And there is a fine return. Don Makita threw a great block for him at the 45 of Minnesota. A 15-yard return by George Fleming, and Washington is in good operating position on the Minnesota 34. Dick Angus come in replacing Greg Larson at center for Minnesota. Right now again, Jackson deep in the backfield, the lone member. In motion comes Fleming as Heibner keeps the ball, tries to buck over his right guard, and picks up a yard. And now they hike into a 6-2-2-1. In motion is Fleming now off the double slot. Heibner pitches to Jackson, the fullback, and Jackson is stormed under as he tried to cut off the line. Double slot again for Washington. Minnesota in a 6-2-2-1 defense. In motion is Fleming. Heibner is rolling out, looking for a receiver. Now he starts to run. He's at the 35 to the 30, and down to the 27-yard line of Minnesota as he ran for the right Right now, timeout. Ivor is going to hold, and George Fleming is going to kick a field goal. The ball is up, and it is good. He booted from the 34-yard line. George Fleming booted a beauty. It had just enough range. And right between those goalposts, Eisner held at the 34 in Minnesota. And so the Washington Huskies take the lead. There's timeout on the field with the score, Washington 3 and Minnesota nothing. Minnesota nothing. And now kicking off, University of Washington boots it down to the goal line. Sandy Stevens takes it, comes up to the 15. He's up to the 20, and he's down on the Minnesota 21-yard line. On the right wing. In motion goes Mulholland. Stevens gives the ball off to the fullback, Hagbert, who comes through in a trap play. Hagbert's over the 30 and plows his way up to the 35. They had a big hole open there by Tom Brown and Bobby Bell, the right guard and right tackle. George Fleming, the left halfback and safety man, had to make the tackle for Washington, and that's the first down for Minnesota. All right, they have Munsey on the right wing out of the wing tee with a balance line. Stevens gives the ball to Mulholland, trying to go wide. He is hit, and he's pulled down on the 31-yard line for a loss of 3 yards. Dave Mulholland trying to skirt his own right in. Is stopped by Roy McCassin, the center, All-American center of Washington linebacker. Second down and 13 to go for Minnesota on their own 31. In motion is Munsey. Rolling out is Stevens. Stevens coming to the 30, to the 35, slips and falls down. As he tried to... Now the first flanker of the day for Minnesota, Mulholland, flanks wide to the right and is split to left end. Stevens, the quarterback, rolls to the right, throws a pass. It is intercepted by Fleming. Fleming intercepts and is out of bounds on the Minnesota 47. Pass intended for Dave Mulholland. Double slot formation for Washington. Schloredt barking no signals. In motion is Makita takes the pitch out. Makita tries to drive off the left side, and he's stopped at the line of scrimmage for no gain by John Novena. Is the quarterback. Fleming and Makita the halfbacks and Jackson the fullback. Double slot. Makita's in motion to the right. Schloredt takes the ball, rolls out. Schloredt is ganged up and bulldogged at the 46-yard line. The quarterback 3-0. Just under 5 minutes remaining in the first period. Schloredt drops back, fakes the throw, shoots a long one, he's knocked down. The pass intended for Max Claridge at the 15, and Munsey knocked it down. And Claridge was open. Schloredt took just a little too long in getting the ball to him. Claridge was 5 yards behind Munsey. All right, Bob Schloredt's in punt formation. He boots from his 45, gets a high spiral. This one is hitting on the 10, and it is rolling around in the Minnesota 10. It is dead on the Minnesota 8, and that's twice at Washington on their 8-yard line. The handoff goes to Judge Dixon, the left halfback, and he tries to slant over on their own 10-yard line. Washington's ahead in this game, 3-0 in the closing minutes of the first quarter. The pitch out is to Dixon, trying to swing wide, and Dixon can't get outside. Now they have a double wing. They put the two halfbacks on the wing. Now they bring him back and send in motion Dixon. The handoff is to the fullback. Jimmy Rogers going through. He had a nice hole open as he hit over his right guard. Cross to the 15 and gets up to the 17. Don Makita met him head on. And there was a fine hole opened by John Novena, the guard. That brings up fourth down and a yard to go away from Larry Johnson. Stevens is the team's punter. He averaged 35 yards a punt this year. They're lining up in a wing T. Now they're shifting into a punt formation. The safety man is George Fleming for Washington, back in his own 45. Stevens waiting for the snap and gets a good one, and the boot is away. It is coming down to the Washington 39. Fleming fumbles the ball and dives on it. He's just recovered. Fleming fumbled with two big Minnesota linemen down there to cover, and he just, and Jackson is fullback. They split the left end. They give the ball off to Makita, the left halfback at the University of Washington. They have Mitchell in the slot left with a left end split. Here's Mitchell coming in motion toward us. Schloredt rolling out to his left. Throws a quick pass. It is good at the 50-yard line, and out of bounds is Ray Jackson at the Minnesota 48. Schloredt rolled out and hit his fullback Jackson in the left flat. Jim Wheeler drove him out of bounds, and that will be a first down for Washington on the Minnesota 48-yard line. At right halfback, replacing Don Matita for Washington. The handoff is to Jackson. He comes through. He's at the 40. Jackson to the 35. He's to the 30. And fights his way to the 49-yard line. That was a trap play up the middle with Ray Jackson running from the 48 of Minnesota to the Minnesota 29. A 19. Julian Hook made that tackle for the University of Minnesota. First down, in motion is Mitchell. The pitch out to Mitchell coming wide. Mitchell's at the 30, 25, and dulled out of bounds on the Minnesota. Has been the strongest position for Minnesota this year. Double slot is Jackson plowing up the middle. And Jackson is slot formation for the Huskies behind a balanced line. Schloredt, the quarterback, sneaks, is over the 20. He's got the first down as he goes to the 18-yard line. Bob Schloredt from Gresham, Oregon, gets the first down for Washington on the Minnesota 18. Julian Hook tackled him. The clock shows 5 seconds to go, and it may run out here before Washington can get another playoff in the first quarter. And there's the gun. It's the end of the first quarter with the score, Washington 3 and Minnesota nothing. For the Huskies, they're threatening. They have a slot left with a left end split. In motion is Mitchell. The pitch out is to Charlie Mitchell. Coming wide at the 15. He's at the 10. And he's bulldogged out on the 7-yard. Washington on the Minnesota 7. Charlie Mitchell's speed going outside is hurting Minnesota right now. They have a wing right. On the wing is the right halfback. Keeping the ball is Schloredt as he tries to cut off a slot right with Wooten in the slot. Mitchell and Jackson are deep. It's Schloredt rolling around his left end. He's at the 5 and tripped up at the 4-yard line. He was tripped up by Sandy Stevens and Bill Cow. Ray Jackson tried to block for him, but couldn't knock out that Minnesota man. Third line defense. They have Charlie Mitchell in a slot right. Schloredt calling signals. Schloredt rolling out to his right. Throws a pass. It is no good. Intended for Mitchell. Charlie Mitchell out in the right flat was in the end zone. Jimmy Rogers was covering him, but the pass was overthrown. It'll be fourth down now, and 4 yards to go. Fourth down, 4 yards to go. They're in a double slot. Schloredt, the quarterback. In motion goes Wooten out toward the far sideline. Schloredt throws to Wooten, and he's over. Touchdown. Leads 9-0. Fleming will attempt the kick. Schloredt holding. The kick is up, and the kick is good. I think Braben will agree with me that this is a fired-up, red-hot Washington football team.
Kurt, they sure are. They went 61 yards for that touchdown. The odd part about it, when they started the second quarter on the 18, Minnesota did not have their great guard time. I don't know why, but he was not in there at all. Okay, Kurt, here's the kickoff.
All right, here's the boot by Fleming. It is coming deep, and it is taken on the 2-yard line by Stevens. He's up to the 10, to the 15, to the 20. Sandy Stevens is up to the 25, where he's stopped by Brent Wooten, the right halfback of Washington. Minnesota has been in the hole most of the game, twice. Washington kicked dead inside their 10, and the Gophers really haven't had a chance to open up their offense without the quarterback. They have a wing T right. Johnson takes the ball, gives off to the fullback, Jim Rogers, and Rogers trying to hit over the right side of his line is stopped at the 27-yard line in Minnesota. A 2-yard advance. The tackle made by Roy McCann is out. The pitch out is a double reverse. The ball given off to Dixon. Dixon is hit at the 30 and spins forward to the 31. Johnson back is Bill Cow. In motion is Judge Dixon. It goes to the fullback. Rogers trying to hit up the middle, and he is stormed under at the 33-yard line. of Minnesota, taken by 3 men, led by Sam Hurwitz, the left guard, and then Roy Mansfield, right in defensively. That leaves a 4th down and 2 to go, Minnesota. Washington leading 10-0, 12 minutes to play in the first half. Minnesota coming up, and they wing T. Now they're shifting into a punt formation. Sandy Stevens is back in the game. He drops back in punt formation. And Charlie Mitchell, the climax runner, is a safety man for Washington. There's a boot. It's right at Mitchell. Mitchell floating back, grabs it on the 19, up to the 20. Mitchell's up to the 25. He's hemmed, and down he goes. And up in a flat right. The pitch out is to Mitchell. Mitchell trying to swing wide. Gallops off his right tackle as he cut back and is piled up on his own 15-yard line by Tom Hall, the left end defensively of
Feeling down there. He doesn't look like he's hurt.
Don Makita is back in right halfback. The pitch out is to Mitchell going wide, and Mitchell is hit and knocked down back in the 6-yard line. There was a tremendous charge by Jim Wheeler, the left tackle, as he broke in. And 16 to go for Washington around their own 6-yard line. Washington dropping in a punt formation on 3rd down. Bob Schloredt in the end zone. Sandy Stevens dropping back as a safety man along with Judge Dixon. There's a kick, a high spiral. The ball coming up, hitting on the Washington 45, rolling to the 50, and then takes a bounce back into Washington territory and is dead on the Washington 47. And this is the first time in the game. Now flanking wide right. They split the left end. Sandy Stevens calling signals. Stevens gives off to the left halfback, Judge Dixon, on a straight dive tackle play. He plows off his left guard and goes to the Washington 41-yard line where Sam Hurwitz met him head on. That's a gain of 6 yards. It is 2nd down and 4 to go for Minnesota. Fullback. In motion comes Mulholland. The quarterback Stevens on a keeper play, rolling around the right side of his line, drives to the Washington 35. As he cut off his right tackle, Ray Jackson and Don Makita brought him down. That's a Minnesota 1st down on the Washington 35. And that's 5-3. Flanking wide is Mulholland, and Hagberg, the fullback from Rochester, Minnesota, hits up the middle, doesn't get much, maybe 2 yards. He was tripped up by Ray Mansfield. Mansfield stopped him. He's the right tackle, leading 10-0. We've got a slot left with a right end split. The pitch out is to the right halfback Muncy, and Muncy hit viciously at the 32-yard line. He was going wide and trying to cut back. Sam Hurwitz nailed him and brought him down. A yard gain, 3rd down and 7 as the left wing back splitting the right end. Fading is Sandy Stevens. Stevens throws a flare pass that is dropped. A swing pass to the full coming out as a wide flanker outside of his right end. Washington's in a 5-3 as Stevens rolls out. He's going to throw. The pass way overthrown, intended for Mulholland. He was smothered, though, by George Fleming. 4th down, incomplete pass, and Washington holds and takes over. Stevens has completed only 38% of his passes this year. Incidentally, all right, Washington with a split left end and Mitchell on the right wing, or Fleming coming in motion. Schloredt gives the ball on a trap play to the fullback Jackson. He's over the 40, and he's up to the 42-yard line. Running that trap play very effectively. Incidentally, it was those fullback trap plays for Purdue that were so effective, handing Minnesota its only loss of the year. The tackle was made by Tom Hall, one of the ends of Minnesota. Got a slot right with a right end split. Makita's in the slot. The handoff is to Fleming, the left halfback, as he tries to slant off the right side of his line. He is stopped. 2nd down and 9 to go. Makita's in the slot left. In motion comes Fleming. The pitch out to Fleming, swinging wide at the 45, at the 50. He is upended right at the midfield stripe. He may have squirmed into the Golden Gopher territory. He does. He edges forward to the Minnesota 49-yard line. And braving those fleet halfbacks, Fleming and Mitchell are the lead blocker. 3rd down, a yard to go. And here's the quarterback breaking through. The Jackson, he's coming at the 35 and to the 20. Bob Schloredt found a big hole on a sneak and broke through. Jackson picked him up as interference. Schloredt carried that ball all the way to the Minnesota 19-yard line, a 26-yard gain. Bob Schloredt since then. Washington on the Minnesota 19. It's to Jackson. Jackson hipped off the right guard position. And a rapier, the way they're hitting inside and out. They've got a slot right. Schloredt rolling to his right is going to run it at the 15. He's at the 10. He drives inside the 10 and gets down to the 7-yard line. Bob Schloredt. Dick Enga, the linebacker, stopped him. Schloredt is putting pressure on that Minnesota defense with his option plays. It's a first down. And goal to go for one. Started from the 32. Fleming's in the slot. The handoff. Straight up the middle. Goes to Jackson as he tries to plow over his left guard, and Jackson hit down inside the 5 by Roger Hagbert, who came up hard to meet him head on. Put it on the 4. Second down and 4 yards to go for a Washington touchdown. He's got Fleming on the right wing with his left end split. Schloredt takes the ball, gives it off to Jackson. Jackson hitting almost to the goal line over his right tackle. Jackson is from Waco, Texas, a senior. Crossed away all on their feet for the University of Washington. Fleming in the slot, and Schloredt dives over for the touchdown. Bob Schloredt pushed over. Went 68 yards in 8 plays. Fleming will kick. Schloredt will hold as Washington leads now 16-0. The kick is up, and the kick is good. It is timeout here at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena with the score Washington 17 and Minnesota nothing. Football machine this afternoon with its lightning speed to go outside, pile driving fullback Jackson up the middle, and some great quarterbacking by Bob Schloredt. Muncie and Stevens are deep for Minnesota. Let's see if Minnesota can get going now. Fleming boots it down to the 1-yard line. Stevens up to the 10, to the 15, to the 20. Stevens to the 25, and he's hit hard there at the 25-yard line. Bottom of that file is Roy McCaskey and also Don Makita. Minnesota's ball on the Minnesota 25, first down. Stevens the quarterback, Mulholland and Muncie are the halfbacks, and Hagberg's at fullback. It goes to Mulholland on a straight handoff over the left side of his line. Stopped for a 2-yard gain at the 27-yard line of Minnesota. The second down and 8 to go. Stan Chappell and Roy splitting the right end. Tom Hall. Stevens calling signals. Stevens gives the ball to Bill Muncie. Muncie on a counter play. After the fake went to the fullback up the middle, Muncie countered from his right to his left and carries to the 32-yard line. 5-yard gain. Rod Shire, the right guard, tripped him up. Third down, Minnesota. Washington leading 17-0. Mulholland flanking left. Here is the quarterback pitching out to Muncie. Muncie coming at the 40. And Hagberg's up to 50, inside the 45, and Hagberg down to 33, and we got a penalty marker down. It's backfield in motion against Minnesota. The longest run of the game is going to be wiped out for Minnesota. New quarterback in, Joe Salem for Washington. Salem on a keeper play, starts to his right, tries to cut back, and is stopped at the 30-yard line of Minnesota. Tackling a quarterback for the Golden Gophers. Now they're shifting into a deep punt formation. George Fleming is dropping back as a single safety for Washington. Stevens hands out stretched on his 18. Boots it from his 20. Gets away a high spiral. Fleming watches it hit on the 30. And it is hit by a Washington lineman inadvertently, and he runs back. But they're putting a flag down. Putting a flag down at the 25-yard line. Ball illegally touched or batted there, says the official. Kermit Jorgensen come in a quarterback for Washington. The clock shows 2 minutes to play here in the first half. Ball was illegally touched or batted on the punt. Actually, the safety man, Fleming, watched it roll, and a lineman, he's dropping back now as a single safety. In just a moment, we'll see a shift from a T into a punt formation. Sandy Stevens dropping back to his 3-yard line. Mitchell's on his own 45. Here's Stevens booting. This one is a wobbly spiral coming to the 44. Grabbed by Mitchell. Mitchell's up to the 45. And just short of the midfield stripe is Charlie Mitchell, where Bobby Bell hit him first as a slot man off to the right. They give that ball to the halfback, Makita, who drives straight over another one. Makita's on the left wing. Heibner on the counter play gives it off to Mitchell, and Mitchell cutting back is over the 40 and to the 36. That was a beautiful counter play. They faked to the fullback Jackson. Heibner held that ball just a shade and then gave it off to Mitchell, cutting from his right halfback position, and he goes for a first down. That Mitchell can 36, first down. 40 seconds remaining in the first half. There's Makita going in motion to the far sideline. Heibner rolling out to the right. Is chased, and he is pulled down back in his own territory by Tom Hall, the right end defensively of Minnesota, who's been a top defensive player for the Golden Gophers in this game. That's a big loss of 16 yards. And Washington's coming in now and asking for time to stop the clock as he brings the team up. They've got Mitchell and Makita in a double slot. In motion comes Makita to the near sideline. Heibner is fading. Is throwing a long one down to Mitchell. And it is batted down by Sandy Stevens at the 15-yard line. It was intended for Mitchell. They were trying to go for the home run, the long one. But Stevens very alertly faded back and knocked it down. The clock shows 16 seconds remaining in the first half. It'll be a third down. And 16 to go. Up they come in their double slot. Something new for them this year that they've shown here in this Rose Bowl game. Mitchell coming in motion to the near sideline. Heibner with the ball, keeping, fumbles, and there's a recovery by Minnesota. Heibner fumbles, Minnesota recovers, but there is the horn. Bill Munsey recovers for the Golden Gophers. The clock shows 8 seconds. The horn sounded ending the first half, but the horn jumped the gun, or jumped the horn a little too quickly. We still have time remaining here in this first half. Minnesota to have some extra footballs on hand for the game. Sandy Stevens, pardon me, Braven.
They're ready.
Sandy Stevens calling signals with 8 seconds to go. There is Stevens rolling out to his left, cocks his arm and fires a long one downfield. This one is intercepted at the 20 by Mitchell. Is up to the 30, to the 40, taking away at the 45. He's at the 50, and into Minnesota territory, Charlie Mitchell carries it to the 44-yard line. And that run is good for 35 yards. But it's the end of the first half here at the Rose Bowl Stadium in Pasadena, California. The score is Washington 17 and Minnesota nothing.
Meyer is going. Make it 17-0. We're now ready for the second half kickoff, and here's Kurt Gowdy.
Thank you, Braven. George Fleming boots it for Washington. A high one that's coming down to the 5-yard line. Taken by Sandy Stevens, comes up to the 20, is to the 25, and he runs into a Washington man. Stevens, the quarterback. Stevens takes the ball, gives it to Mulholland. Mulholland hitting over the right side of his lines up to the 30-yard line of the Golden Gophers. Don Makita and Jerry Annis at center. Stevens gives the ball a big hole open, and a trap play up the middle comes Roger Hagberg. Over the 40 up to the 43-yard line. Don Makita tackled him, and he had a gaping hole open. That's a 13-yard run by Roger Hagberg. Minnesota on their 43. That's their third. Has 10. Got a wing T right. There's a near offside. Now everybody is confused, and the offside penalty is going against Washington. Washington originally charged across, and 1st and 5. In motion is Mulholland to the far sideline. Inside reverse, and hit just over the 50-yard line is Bill Muncy. He carries forward territory. They've got a wing T right. In motion is Mulholland. It goes to the fullback, Hagberg. Hagberg hitting forward to the 45-yard line of the Huskies. Stopped by Jim Skaggs and by Kurt Gagner, and it's a first down, Minnesota. That's their 4th. They're on the move, trying to get back in this game. We just started. And setting a halfback wide right. The quarterback running the keeper play. Stevens is over the 45 and lunges forward to the 42-yard line. 42. Got a wing T right. Muncy's on the right wing. Balance line. Stevens is rolling out, fading the pass. Throws incomplete. At the 30-yard line, and very little breeze to speak of, so the wind is no factor. Mulholland in motion. The reverse play to Muncy at the 40, and driving to the 35. He ran into one of his own men at the 40, or he might have picked up more yardage. They give it to the wingback, Muncy, from the right wing on the inside reverse. He cuts back over his left guard. And now we have timeout on the officials, and I believe they're going to measure here. It's on the Washington 35-yard line. That last tackle was made by Roy McCassin of Clover Park, Washington. The yard chains are being brought out. This is the measurement. The sticks are down, and it looks 35. Stevens calling signal. Stevens to Hagberg, and he made the stop. Dan Chappell, submarine-man, stops him. They hold. Mighty big play for Washington. He stopped for a yard loss on the Washington 36. Washington holds on their 36, and they'll take over. And that's 30 minutes of the second half. All right, the slot formation. Jackson's in the slot, the fullback. Fumble, Minnesota recovers on the 32-yard line. Bob Deegan, the left end, broke in as the pitch out went from Heidner to Jackson, who fumbled. Minnesota recovered. We've had very few fumbles in this game. Good ball handling, very few penalties. That's the second fumble that Washington's lost. Minnesota's not fumbled. Minnesota's ball on the Washington 32-yard line. A referee asking the crowd to quiet down. In motion is Mulholland to the far sideline. Keeper play with Stevens. Stevens running wide to the 30, 25, and running it inside the 25 to the 23-yard line. This is Minnesota's deepest penetration of the day. 9-yard gain by Sandy Stevens as he rolled out around his right end. Second down, a yard to go for the Golden Gophers. And now timeout. Scores of the other bowl games today, in case you didn't get them. In the Orange Bowl, Missouri defeated Navy 21-14. In the Sugar Bowl, Mississippi down Rice 14-6. Here they go, Kurt. Second down, a yard to go for Minnesota on the Washington 23. In motion is Muncy. It's off to Mulholland. He's at the 20 on a reverse play and spins to the 19. We have 9 minutes and 45 seconds remaining in the third period, as it's the first down for Minnesota on the Washington 19 for the University of Washington. Splitting the left end. Here in motion is Muncy. And now the quarterback, Stevens, pitches to Muncy. He's at the 15, he's at the 10, he's at the 5, and he rides it in for the touchdown. Minnesota scores. On the 18-yard play, quarterback Stevens set it up on the option sideline. Jimmy Rogers will attempt the conversion. Sandy Stevens will hold. Rogers, the second-string fullback, hooks it. It is good, and the score is the University of Washington 17 and Minnesota 7. And Minnesota Looks like a different ball club here in the opening minutes of the second half. We're waiting. Here comes Judge Dixon, the left halfback forward. He boots end over end, hitting on the 15, taken on the 8-yard line by Fleming. He's up to the 15 to the 20, 25 to the 30, and Fleming on the right wing. They give it off to Jackson, the fullback, and he powers his way to the 40-yard line of Washington. A 4-yard gain. It's nearly a 7-8 man line for Minnesota. Schloredt tries to sneak it, and he's ganged up. He's going to be throwing for a loss. Bob Schloredt, who was effective with a couple of quarterback sneaks in the first half, in fact was the leading ground gainer of the Washington team, stopped by Francis Brixius and Bob Deegan to a nice end. Minnesota is showing a much better charge in their defensive line. They're putting Makita in the slot left. Here's Schloredt rolling out. He tries to run. He's down on the 39-yard line, a yard loss. He tried to get outside of his own right end. Play was turned in by Mulholland, the defensive left halfback, and Mulvanna came up to make the kill. A yard with Mulholland, Sanford, and Munsey deep as safety. The kick is taken on a 21 by Munsey. He is up to the 25. What a block there at the 30. And he's out of bounds on the 33. And what a block by Bobby Bell. The best block of the afternoon. He upended a Washington man. He must have knocked him 10 yards in the air, and down he came. They're in the wing T left with a balanced line. They have Mulholland on the wing. The handoff goes to Bill Munsey. Checked in a new team. They have Larry Johnson, a quarterback. Johnson gives off to Judge Dixon, his halfback. Dixon, running off his right tackle, crosses the 40 and fights his way up to his 43-yard line. He's brought down by Barry Bullard and Ray Jackson. Dixon and Kaus at halfback. The handoff goes to Dixon. Dixon bursts through the right side. He's over the 45, and he gets the first down to the Minnesota 47. Brent Wooten stopped him. In motion is Dixon. Here's that reverse play. It goes off to Bill Kaus. We have a penalty marker down. Penalty marker going down, and a holding penalty has been called. Kaus took the handoff. Kaus at right half. Split left in, and the halfback on the right wing. There's the keeper play run by Johnson, and Johnson is piled up at the 33-yard line. He started out to his left, sliding down the line of scrimmage and tried to cut back and ran into 3 Washington men led by Bill Canoon, the right guard. So it's second down now and 24 yards to go for Minnesota. Minnesota's backing wide to the left with a right end split. Long signal count by Johnson. He keeps the ball, runs it over the 35, and is up to the 38-yard line of Minnesota. The 5-man line this time. Now it's a 4-man line on a perhaps passing play, but they're going to run it. They give it to Hagberg, the fullback. Hagberg straight up the middle. And punter, who has been doing a good job of punting today. And there goes Fleet Charlie Mitchell back as a safety man for Washington. Hiking into a punt formation is Stevens. He's on his own 30. Mitchell's back on the Washington 20. Here's the pass from center, and the kick is away. Mitchell fumbles the ball on his 20. He's back on the 15. He's hit, and he's knocked down on the 9-yard line. Charlie Mitchell with a penalty marker down. A penalty marker goes down also. Mitchell tried to field that ball over his shoulder. There's a personal foul call, but we'll see who it's against. He fumbled it on the track. He's gone most of the way as offensive quarterback. Gives it off to Brent Wooten. And Wooten trying to slip through the left side of his line. Comes up to the Washington 30-yard line. Stopped by Julian Hook, the linebacker. Right end split. Mitchell, the left wing back. It is to Wooten. Wooten lowers his head and tries to bull over the left side, and he's stopped for about a 2-yard pickup, but a penalty marker goes down. The tackle made by Jerry Annis of Carlos, Minnesota. Here's a double slot formation with the halfbacks in the slot, end split for Washington. In motion is Wooten. Schloredt takes the ball, keeps it, runs off the left side of his line, crosses the 20, and gets up to the Washington 22-yard line. Tackled there by Julian Hook. Third down. 13 to go for Washington. Stevens drops back as the safety for Minnesota. Schloredt boots it, a high spiral. Stevens takes it on his 37. He starts to the far sidelines at the 40 to the 45, and he's hit and knocked down on the Minnesota left. In motion is Muncy. The handoff is to Hagbert. He's slowed up behind the line of scrimmage and then shakes loose, gets the yardage back to the line of scrimmage. He was hit by Falkins, who slowed him up. Muncy's on the right wing with a balanced line. Stevens fakes a handoff, bootlegs around the left end at the 45 to the midfield stripe and into Washington territory. He is belted out of bounds on the Washington 48-yard line. Lee Falkins and Kurt Gegner drove him out of bounds. Gain of 6. It is 3rd and 5. Dick Miller. Danny Stevens calling signals, takes the ball on the reverse play, gives it to Munson. He slips and falls down as he tries to knife over his left guard. Chuck Allen and Kurt Gegner hit him there. Put it down on the Washington 47. Lining up in a T. They may shift into a punt formation. They do. Stevens is dropping back. Mitchell fades back as the safety man for Washington. He's back on the 15-yard line. Stevens gets a good pass from center and boots a high, wobbly end-over-end kick that hits in the 15, rolls to the 10, and then takes a backward hop and goes out on the 11-yard line. So no favor of Washington. Mitchell's a slot back right. He goes in motion. The handoff is to Jackson. The fullback comes through at the 20 on a quick opener. Ray Jackson exploding up the middle. Roger Hagbert pulled him down on the 20-yard line. A 9-yard gain, a second down, and a yard to go for Washington. Second down, a yard to go. Wooten, the slot back. It is off to Mitchell, and he is ganged up for perhaps no gain on the 20-yard line. Charlie Mitchell taking the handoff from Bob Schloredt, trying to hit off his left tackle. He was stopped there by Bob Frisbee, the right tackle of Minnesota. Put it on the 20, make it third down, and a yard to go. Third and a yard. And there's the gun. It's the end of the third quarter here at the Rose Bowl Stadium with the score, Washington 17 and Minnesota 7. The opening minutes of the game. He's calling those signals with Mitchell on the wing. And the handoff. Schloredt fakes the handoff, keeps it, comes over the 30 to the 35, up to the 40. And Bob Schloredt is down on the 42-yard line. Bill Muncy and Bobby Bell brought him down. Bob Schloredt, a boy blinded in one eye as a youth, who also this year has come back from adversity. He suffered a broken collar. Just run it for the first down. The handoff is to Makita. Makita is piled up at the 41-yard line. A yard lost by Tom Brown, who hit him there. Washington's ball on their 41. Him up in a slot formation right. In motion is Mitchell. The pitch out to Mitchell, going wide. And he's hit and pulled down back on the 37-yard line. Bob Deegan, the end, broke through to bring him down. That was the play, the pitch out play that was effective for Washington on their own 37. Double slot formation. In motion is Makita. There's a penalty marker down as the play got underway. Looks like they took too much time getting that one off. Quite a bit today. Schloredt booting. He gets it away. A booming spiral. It is coming to the 22 of Minnesota. Taken by Stevens. And he is down to the 24. Schloredt getting off with 12 minutes and a half remaining to play in this game. Minnesota's ball, first down. Stevens rolling out to his left, up to 25. He laterals out to the 30 to Bill Muncy, who took the lateral from Stevens, and he is ridden out of bounds on the 36-yard line of Minnesota by Kurt Gegner. But that's going to be a Minnesota first down in the second half. Stevens rolling out to his right. Gets a block, throws a pass. It is good at the 50-yard line. And out of bounds on the Washington 46 is Tom Hall, who's been the leading Minnesota receiver this year. He caught 10 passes. So there's another first down. Formation. That's been the first completed pass, by the way, for Minnesota. Stevens rolling out. Stevens at the 45 to the 40 and drives hard inside the 40 to the 38-yard line. Once again, the quarterback option play. Sliding down the line of scrimmage to his left. Faking the pitch out, keeping and running off his left side. Balance line, wing T right. Stevens fakes the handoff. Fades to throw. Can't find. Now throws one deep. And this one is incomplete for Minnesota. Slot formation right. The pitch out is to Dixon, coming wide at the 40, 35. Lowers his head and bowls his way down inside the 35 to the 34. And he knocked Makita a couple of yards away, but Makita slowed him down enough. 2 in the first half. So you can see how they moved here in the second half. Wing T right. The handoff to the fullback, Hagberg, straight up the middle he goes and plows inside the 30 to the 28-yard line. Roger Hagberg from Rochester, Minnesota, the leading ball carrier on the Minnesota team this year. Bob Deegan on the left wing with the balanced line. In motion is King. It is off to Dixon, and he doesn't get much on that inside reverse. Trying to counter off the left wing, pile up for no gain on the 28. He was trying to bang off his right guard, and he was 3rd and 4. Stevens rolling to his left. He's going to run it. He's at the 30. He's at the 25. He's gang tackled to the 25-yard line. Maybe just short of the 25 by Lee Falcon, Jim Skaggs. Washington is a gang tackling on Bill Munsey on the right wing. And here's the handoff. Stevens to Hagberg. Penalty marker down. Hagberg hits up the middle. We have offside Washington. An offside against Washington. Looked like the left tackle charged off. Washington anticipating the two for Minnesota in the first half. And now they're all even. Here's Munsey in motion. Stevens rolling out. He's at the 20. He's at the 15 as he rolled around his right end. And Stevens has been the workhorse for Washington on the rollout plays and options for the change. Don Makita, something wrong with his helmet. Clock stopped with 8 minutes, 39 seconds to go in the game. 17-7 Washington. Here is Raven Dyer. This has been a long drive for Minnesota. They come up from their own 24. It is to Munsey. Munsey cracking off the right side of his line. Bill Munsey from Uniontown, Pennsylvania, sophomore, carries that ball just short of the Washington 11-yard line. John Myers and Ray Mansfield. And that's a first down. First down. Stevens calling signals. In motion is Munsey. It goes to Hagberg. Hagberg lowers his head and plows to the 8-yard line as he banged off his right guard. A 3-yard gain. The stop was made by Ray Jack, slot left, with Dixon in the slot. The pitch out is to Munsey. Munsey is hit at the 6-yard line. Munsey going wide and tried to cut back and was met on a beautiful tackle there by Rod Shire from Bremerton. And culminates this drive with time running out of him. Here's Stevens rolling out. He's hit. He's down. Back in the 19. Stevens is hit by Don Makita, who blitzed in from his halfback position and rushed the pass during the hole, what may be an attempted field goal or be spotted on the Washington 25. And it's a fake. Stevens is going to roll out. He's going to run. He throws now. Intercepted at the goal line. Up to the 5, to the 10. And up to the 10 is Don Makita. Brought down. He intercepted it on the goal line. The tackle was made by Bob Deegan. It was intended for him, then he ran back. And now while they line up, let's start. Gowdy and Braven Dyer again. On the 9-yard line, Washington puts the ball in play with Bob Schloredt running a quarterback sneak off his left guard. Gets 2 free yards to the 11 and 12. with 5 minutes and 35 seconds left to go. That was a big stop for Washington of that Minnesota drive for 70 yards.
There's going to be a fake on that play, don't you?
It's on the 10-yard line, second down, and 9 to go. Penalty markers go down all over the field. They're ahead, 17-7. They're in no hurry. George Fleming, slot back. Nearly they had a back in motion there. Now Fleming starts in motion. The handoff goes to Ray Jackson as Jackson tries to crack off the right side of his line. He's piled up at the 7-yard line. Washington has moved that ball very little in the second half against this stout and big Golden Gopher line. But they moved it enough in the first half to build up. This time in the game that they kicked on third down. It nearly blocked. He got it away. Kick is a fair catch call for on the 43-yard line. Is grabbed there by Sandy Stevens. Dick Larson nearly blocked that kick as he rushed. And it'll be Minnesota's ball on the Washington 43. Trailing by 10 points as they come up with a wing tee. Rolling out is Stevens. Stevens throws a pass out in the flat. It's complete to Jimmy Rogers, the fullback. And he's knocked down on the 40-yard line. Bob Schloredt hit him hard. There was some concern over Schlorett's play. Second down and 8 to go. Minnesota has Stevens fading the throw. He throws a flare pass incomplete to Rogers behind the line of scrimmage. A forward pass incomplete. Minnesota has not been known as a good passing team this year. Therefore, it has been a strong defense that has forced the opposition. Minnesota now puts Larry Johnson at quarterback. He's the best passer of their quarterbacks. Johnson is fading, is throwing deep. The pass is incomplete, intended for Bob Deegan, who is speeding down the middle at the 10-yard line. It was over his head. He was covered by Fleming and Pat Clary. Fourth down for Minnesota. Fourth down for Minnesota. On the Washington 41-yard line, 4th and 8. Here's Tom King coming in at right half. Bill Muncy has gone out. Minnesota lining up in their wing tee. Johnson fading again. Good protection. A long one downfield. It is intended for King, and it's incomplete at the 5-yard line. George Fleming had him covered. And Washington holds and takes over with 3. All right, Fleming in the slot. The handoff is to Don Makita. And Makita doesn't get much as he bangs off the right side of his line. There in motion is Fleming. They give the ball to Jackson, the fullback, who powers up the middle. And it's stopped on the 41-yard line. A yard gain. Anxiously watching his Minnesota team. Fleming, the slot back, goes in motion. Schloredt rolling out is hit behind the line of scrimmage and knocked down at the 35. And what a charge that was by Dick Larson, the right end. He was in there before Schloredt could get going. Capacity here at the Rose Bowl is 100,800. Schloredt's in punt formation. He boots a driving spiral deep down to the 15 of Minnesota. Taken there by Judge Dixon. He's at the 20, and he's ganged up and thrown at the 23-yard line of Minnesota. Bob Schloredt booting one with the line of scrimmage, his own 35. He kicked that one to the 15, a 50-yard kick from scrimmage. Minnesota on their 23. Larry Johnson, the quarterback. Johnson fades back, looks, throws down the middle. It's incomplete. At the 35-yard line of Minnesota, Chuck Allen drifted back to break it up. And the pass intended for Tom Hall, who's been the leading end. 17-7, Washington ahead here. Minnesota on their 23, second and 10. Larry Johnson rolling out again. Looks and throws down the near sideline. That one is complete. And out of bounds on the 38-yard line. It was completed to Tom Hall from Wilmington, Delaware, who has a fine pair of hands. You throw that ball around him and he'll grab it. First down for Minnesota. Block, a real key for that Washington club today. With his punting and running the team, and also some fine defensive play. Here's Larry Johnson, the quarterback, back again, throws down the middle. And this one is broken up by Charlie Mitchell. Mitchell of Seattle, a sophomore, knocked that one down. It was intended for Tom Hall. The clock stops with 50 seconds remaining. A red-hot, fired-up Washington club in the first half. Minnesota's bounced back. You have to give them a lot of credit. There's a swing pass out to the left of the fullback, Rogers. He's up to the 40, heads for the sideline to get out of bounds and stop the clock. And he was belted out by Pat Clary. Bob Schloredt, we understand from the press box. Bob Schloredt, we understand from the press box, has been selected, Braven, as the most valuable player of the game. Second year in a row for him.
Isn't that surprising?
Well, he's the comeback kid. He broke a collarbone against UCLA and set out the last 6 games of the season. But he didn't sit this one out. He was all over the field. Johnson rolling out in the closing seconds. Throws to Mulholland, the halfback. Mulholland over the 50 and into Washington territory on the Washington 46. The clock now shows us 30 seconds remaining in this game. That's the first down for Minnesota. Lee Falcons up first down on the Washington 47. Johnson throws a little quick pass to Mulholland, who breaks through over the 40 down to the 35, where he stopped. Dave Mulholland, Washington standing it out. 5, 4, 3, 2. And here's the last play of the game. The pass is incomplete, and that's it. Washington has defeated Minnesota. A mild upset. Minnesota was a 7-point favorite. Minnesota rated the nation's #1 team. But Washington, remember, has lost only 2 games in the last 2 years, and they came in here with an excellent football team. And that's the end of the game. The final score is Washington 17 and Minnesota 7. Well, before we wrap up the highlights of the game, on down, the happy band of Washington Rooters pour out in the field as their club heads for the dressing room. And it is Washington in the Rose Bowl twice in a row. The only Pacific Coast club that has won 2 Rose Bowl games against the Big Ten. A fighting Minnesota team went down. They fought back in the second half. Couldn't quite make it, but Braven Dyer will have his wrap-up of today's game.
Thank you, Kurt Gowdy, and you did a brilliant job on describing a game in which there was action every second out there, of course, except when time was out. Washington deserved the win because they played much the better ball in the first half and got away to a 17-point lead, and that was too much for a game and courageous Minnesota team to overcome.
Second down and 3 to go. Double slot formation again. They leave Jackson alone deep in the backfield. They pitch to Makita. Makita coming wide is hit, and he is down. He takes away. Ends over the 45. He was hit by 3 men at the 40 and miraculously got out of their grasp and picked up a first and 10 for the University of Washington to their own 47. Tom Brown brought him down, but Makita right now, timeout. Piver is going to hold, and George Fleming is going to kick a field goal. The ball is up, and it is good. He booted from the 34-yard line. George Fleming booted a beauty. It had just enough range. And right between those goalposts, Heidner held at the 34 in Minnesota. And so the Washington Huskies take the lead. There's timeout on the field with the score, Washington 3 and Minnesota nothing. All right, they have Munsey on the right wing for the wing tee with a balanced line. Stevens gives the ball to Mulholland, trying to go wide. He is hit, and he's pulled down on the 31-yard line for a loss of 3 yards. Dave Mulholland trying to skirt his own right in. Is stopped by Roy McCassin, the center, All-American center of Washington linebacker. Now the first flanker of the day for Minnesota, Mulholland, flanked wide to the right and has split the left end. Stevens, the quarterback, rolls to the right, throws a pass. It is intercepted by Fleming. Fleming intercepts and out of bounds. Minnesota, 47. Pass intended for Dave Mulholland. At right halfback, replacing Don Makita for Washington. The handoff is to Jackson. He comes through. He's at the 40. Jackson to the 35. He's to the 30. And fights his way to the 49-yard line. That was a trap play up the middle with Ray Jackson running from the 48 of Minnesota to the Minnesota 29. A 19. Fourth down, 4 yards to go. They're in a double slot. Schloredt, the quarterback. In motion goes Wooten out toward the far sideline. Schloredt throws to Wooten, and he's over. Touchdown.
Down there, he doesn't look like he's hurt.
Don Makita is back in right halfback. The pitch out is to Mitchell going wide, and Mitchell is hit and knocked down back in the 6-yard line. There was a tremendous charge by Jim Wheeler, the left tackle, as he broke in the lead blocker. Third down, a yard to go. And here's the quarterback breaking through to Jackson. He's coming at the 35 and to the 20. Bob Schloredt found a big hole on a sneak and broke through. Jackson picked him up as interference. Schloredt carried that ball all the way to the Minnesota 19-yard line, a 26-yard gain. Bob Schloredt crossed away all on their feet for the University of Washington. Fleming in the slot, and Schloredt dives over for the touchdown. Bob Schloredt switched over. Another one. Makita's on the left wing. Heidner on the counter play gives it off to Mitchell, and Mitchell cutting back is over the 40 and to the 36. That was a beautiful counter play. They faked to the fullback Jackson. Heidner held that ball just a shade and then gave it off to Mitchell, cutting from his right halfback position, and he goes for a first down. That Mitchell 36, first down. 40 seconds remaining in the first half. There's Makita going in motion to the far sideline. Heidner rolling out to the right. Is chased, and he is pulled down back in his own territory by Tom Hall, the right end defensively of Minnesota, who's been a top defensive player for the Golden Gophers in this game. That's a big loss of 16 yards. And Washington's coming in now and asking for time to stop the clock to have some extra footballs on hand for the game. Sandy Stevens, pardon me, Braven. They're ready. Sandy Stevens calling signals with 8 seconds to go. There is Stevens rolling out to his left, cocks his arm and fires a long one downfield. This one is intercepted at the 20 by Mitchell. He's up to the 30, to the 40, taking away at the 45. He's at the 50, and into Minnesota territory, Charlie Mitchell carries it to the 44-yard line. And that run is good for 35 yards, but it's the end of the first half here at the Rose Bowl Stadium in Pasadena, California. The score is Washington 17 and Minnesota nothing.
Meyer was going.
And Jerry Annis at center. Stevens gives the ball a big hole open, and a trap play up the middle comes Roger Hagberg over the 40 up to the 43-yard line. Don Makita tackled him, and he had a gaping hole open. That's a 13-yard run by Roger Hagberg. Minnesota on their 43. That's their third. 35. Stevens calling signal. Stevens to Hagberg, and he made the stop. Dan Chappell, submarine man, stops him. They hold Washington 36. Washington holds on their 36, and they'll take over. And that Minnesota's not fumbled. Minnesota's ball on the Washington 32-yard line. The referee asking the crowd to quiet down. In motion is Mulholland to the far sideline. Keeper play with Stevens. Stevens running wide to the 30, 25, and running it inside the 25 to the 23-yard line. This is Minnesota's deepest penetration of the day. 9-yard gain by Sandy Stevens as he rolled out around his right end. Second down, a yard to go for the Golden Gophers. And now timeout for the University of Washington. Splitting the left end. Here in motion is Muncie. And now the quarterback, Stevens, pitches to Muncie. He's at the 15, he's at the 10, he's at the 5, and he rides it in for the touchdown. Minnesota scores. On the 18-yard play, quarterback Stevens set it up on the option. The opening minutes of the game. He's calling those signals with Mitchell on the wing. And the handoff. Schloredt fakes the handoff, keeps it, comes over the 30 to the 35, up to the 40, and Bob Schloredt is down on the 42-yard line. Bill Muncie and Bobby Bell brought him down. Bob Schloredt, a boy blinded in one eye as a youth, who also this year has come back from adversity. He suffered a broken collarbone in the second half. Stevens rolling out to his right, gets a block, throws a pass. It is good at the 50-yard line. And out of bounds on the Washington 46 is Tom Hall, who's been the leading Minnesota receiver this year. He caught 10 passes. So there's another first down. And culminate this drive with time running out of them. Here's Stevens rolling out. He's hit. He's down. Back in the 19. Stevens is hit by Don Makita, who blitzed in from his halfback position and rushed the pass to hold what may be an attempted field goal or be spotted on the Washington 25. And it's a fake. Stevens is going to roll out. He's going to run. He throws now. Intercepted at the goal line. Up to the 5, to the 10. And up to the 10 is Don Makita. Brought down. He intercepted it on the goal line. The tackle was made by Bob Deegan. It was intended for him, then he ran back. And now while they lined up, let's pause.